Welcome to All Over the Place, an eclectic podcast of random ramblings, spirituality, food porn, ASMR, travel, off-grid living, plus so much more. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your hostess, Honey Goddess. Why is it when we're on the precipice of a breakthrough, do things become so tedious and ardent and somewhat dreadful? I completely get it logically. Okay, how bad do you really want it? Do you want it bad enough or badly enough to go through these things, to jump through these hoops, and yes, it builds character, and yes, it makes you stronger, and yes, you see what you're made of. I completely get all those things. And I don't question a lot of things. But why is it? Why must things become dreadful, painful, for the breakthrough, for the sweet spot? I mean, you've released it. You've healed it. You've done the work. You've put one foot in front of the other. You have utilized your resources. You go and learn and gain new knowledge. And yet and still, it's still so difficult. Why is that? I'll be honest. At times, I find it to be incredibly draining of my energy. It is a fine balance, striking and maintaining balance of positive and dark. You sweat those negative naysayer thoughts out of your head all day. You sweat them out and replace them with good, positive, light thoughts. But that dance in itself is training, right? That dance in itself is training. Balancing the dark and the light. But it has to be done. Maybe the question isn't why. Maybe there isn't a question at all. Maybe we're just supposed to experience, which is what I believe. We're just supposed to experience it. But there's a great scheme of things. There's a bigger picture. There's got to be a reason why, right? Right? There's got to be a reason why. Well, precipice in itself means a very steep rock or cliff, especially a tall one. So when you think of a cliff, rock, you think of rough terrain, jagged edges, exhaustion, uphill climbing. It makes sense that the precipice would be rough, dreadful. I'm really into that word right now. But dreadful. You have to be persistent to get to the top. You have to be tenacious to get to the top. You have to believe in yourself. You have to push yourself. You have to go. You have to know you could do it. You have to stay in positivity. And the moment that negativity enters your mind, swat it out or experience it, burn it off and keep it pushing. You have to know that you're worthy of all of your dreams coming to fruition. But then once you get to the top of that cliff or rock, the breakthrough, well, with the exception of plunging to your death, it seems like smooth sailing. I'm almost positive that you took some gear up that steep, rocky, rough terrain mountain. I'm almost positive, so I'm sure you came prepared to either hang glide or have a jet or something, come and get you off the cliff. Unscathed, Well, you would have been scathed going up the cliff, but not going down. I'm sure you're prepared. And isn't that what the cliff teaches us? Aren't those the lessons that we're supposed to learn on the way up to the smooth sailing? The smooth sailing is the sweet spot. And I've never known a mountain that was easy to climb. Not a mountain. Maybe a little hill. Even hills are not easy to climb, but definitely not a mountain. Those are difficult. And you learn a crap load of gems. You gain and gather a crap load of gems on your way up to the top. On the way to the top. Do you know, once you get to the top, it's a lonely place because not many people are going to go to the top of the mountain. And I mean that literally as well figuratively. So when they say it's lonely at the top, they mean in every way, every facet of that word. Time to pay the bills. Let's get into this ad. Hey kittens, it's your girl, Honey Goddess. I'm curious how many of you would like to start your own podcast. When I first started, I had a bunch of questions like, how do you even record an episode? And most importantly, how do I get paid? Anchor is the answer because it's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast, and it's 100% free. And now they match you with amazing sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast, which means you get paid to podcast right away. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money while doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcasts. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Breakthroughs, transitions, transformations happens and occurs throughout our lifetimes. It doesn't end. And I want to say that it doesn't necessarily slow down or get greater later in the aspect that they're easier. I just find that the breakthroughs and transitions differ from when you're younger. And I think as you mature and become more wise, you understand that it is a breakthrough and a transformation and transition as you've been through so many of them that you can recognize them as they come. And oftentimes we don't understand maybe what we're experiencing and or maybe even why we're experiencing what we're experiencing until we get through the experience. And even then, sometimes that's like more of a surface understanding until later on when you're gathering up all your experiences or you're met with a similar transition. And then you're like, aha, that's why I went through or grew through what I had to grow through. So, I believe that there's also always a message and a lesson in our transition and breakthroughs. But they're usually the breakthrough when you're going through a breakthrough, the tomfoolery and skullduggery seem to come more and more often, and it's so pertinent and poignant and powerful, and If you don't keep your wits about you, it will most certainly knock you off your square. And even if you do get knocked off your square, it's okay as long as you recognize you were knocked off the square and you recenter and rebalance and ground. But as we get closer to the breakthrough, right on the precipice, right as we're about to shatter the glass, it seems like a pit of lions, tigers, bears, oh my, and fiery, lava pits are right there waiting for us to grow through, crossover as we get to the actual door. So this is for anyone that is going through a breakthrough, a transition, a transformation. And probably many of us are beings and all that we're in Scorpio season. And that is some of the energy of the Scorpio transformation, transitions and breakthroughs and, dealing with all things of the spiritual worlds, metaphysical things into that nature. So this is sending a special shout out to all of you, holding you in high vibrations and sending you lots of love and comfort while you're going through, and allowing you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. You have your angels that are looking after you, your ancestors, but you also have the collective of humans that are also going through their breakthroughs. So again, this is just to extend you some acknowledgement that you are going through. And if you are going through hell, as that old adage says, then keep going, child. Keep going. Even if you have to crawl, cry, push your way through, just keep going. Don't stop. Thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of All Over the Place. Be sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled for the weekly intuitive readings for the entire zodiac by Honey Goddess or Honey's Astro Corner that will be coming in the next couple of days. Again, sending much love, grace, and gratitude to all of you all. And thank you all so much for your continued support and tuning in. Peace. This has been another Honey Goddess production. To learn more about this podcast or another Honey Goddess production, visit us online at www.anotherhoneygoddessproduction.com. That's another HUNNY goddessproduction.com. Subscribe to this podcast and follow us on Instagram at Honey Goddess.